All praises, Kimball. Kimball na Tata nZambi. Manabetu, Makanda, family. All praises, Kimball, hallelujah. I welcome you once again, Konkwisa Yambote, to another video. It's actually something that I wanted to say that I learned recently, and I got to pull it up to start also saying in my videos. Yengi Keno family, Yengi Keno, away New Siemi. I hope that the seed sower is with you. I know in these last days, there's a lot of things we're dealing with. Our struggles are getting more intense because of the strength of the devil, as he knows the time is getting short. And I'm going to talk about some of the things that he's doing to keep the Kintwati in pieces. And, you know, one of the things that I've tried to get people to understand in this awakening is that there's a lot of false things going out there about us. And what's actually transpiring is the intent of because I'm going to talk about the whole problem. I'm going to talk about today because, you know, the contract is not going to continue to be extended for the time that they were given to have us. The Most High is going to start stepping up his drastic measures to get back what they stole that people don't even know about. You know, they still standing doing what they just keep going along and doing what they do, and they're going to continue to keep people in their deceptions, and they're going to continue to push something that they know is not true. Let's see, where is it? Okay, here we go. There's a word out there she's going to say. Learning. Sorry. Kubamani, are you ready? Kubamani. Kubamani, are you ready? Kubamane, Kubamani. Are you ready? Kubamani na Tata nZambi. Kubamani na Tata nZambi and Pungu. I'm going to say why. You know, there's a reason why you have to be careful with interpretation of scripture. Today, I'm going to read some scriptures that actually are going to be a lot closer to the original writings than what they did. There's a reason why they didn't put these back in the Bible, because they distinctly distinguish the fact that the Jewish people, the real Jews, of course, they have to always be first, and the Gentiles are always second. Okay? The spiritual world understands this, but the carnal world has been deceived by this. Okay? The carnal world has been told that everybody is the same, when the spiritual world knows that is not the truth. That is not the truth at all. Okay? The spiritual knows that the nature works, the rocks and the plants and the animals and in the Most High's world, we are all the same like that. But when it comes to the lineage and hierarchies of the nations, we are not the same in the spiritual world. They know that. Okay? The devil himself has deceived the whole world, but people don't understand the masquerade that's going on. And of course, the biggest advantage the devil uses to his way of creating division among the Most High's chosen people is not knowing who people are. The Most High has blocked some people's identity for a reason. I'm actually going to talk about today that there have been some people in this awakening, they've already messed up. They just, it hasn't been revealed to them yet, but it will be. Okay. A lot of people there's other people who made this revelation, but because they messed up, now they're angry about it and they want to try to do stuff about it because of the and that's why we have a lot of people out here in America and the world. They're saying, okay, we know we already messed up. We took this oath and we shouldn't have done it, but we're going to make sure that you're not going to make it either. We're going to serve that master and we're going to act like we didn't, but we did. Okay, this is the whole environment that we're living in. I was just watching somebody talking about geology and the hundreds of millions of years and and people don't even know that entire scientific world is a fabrication to hide the fact that there's an agenda to kill the Most High. Okay, the whole scientific community is in unison with the secret societies to not let the people know about the real past. And this is why I was listening to this guy, I was sharing it with my wife. I said, watch what he's going to say, because color has nothing to do with the secret societies. It's their brotherhood. It's a sorority. It's a fraternity. It's just like whatever. Okay. And they have conditioned the world to think a certain way. And like the guy said, if you don't think that way, then they're going to try to destroy you. They're going to try to bring you down. They're going to try to bring the hammer down. Okay. And this is the vast reality. Okay. When I was given the spirit where the Most High was saying that my job is to expose the devil's world, to open people's eyes to a delusion that they don't see. The problem is, here we go, playing the game. And they're going to say that they don't see my camera. nZambi Puma Father, disconnect the spirit with nZambi that's been an interference. Yes, hold on a second. Okay. Yeah, this stupid thing is acting up, and I figured it would. But anyway, so I'm gonna get into the song. We're gonna talk about it. This is the day Asambulolo, Kintwadi. This is I'm gonna share some nuggets. I talked about the connection. Why you're having family problems right now? If you're having family problems, why we're having Kintwadi problems? What's really going on behind the scenes? And this is the video they don't want to hear. Okay, this is what they know is the game plan, and I'm going to help you defeat it, because the NWO is in everything, and they have nothing to do with race. They have nothing to do with language. None of this. They have an agenda to stop the Most High, but they're going to pretend like they're on his side when they're not. But when you're a person that knows this, they will then use every tactic that they can to discredit you and use whatever they can use against you to discredit others when they themselves are not telling you the truth. Because when you can't see these people, they can tell you whatever. But when you can see them, then they're going to want to attack you. Okay, we talk about this. This goes for anybody. I've now talked to several Ngunzas across this awakening. And the one thing that I understand is an Ngunza with the Most High, a priest, okay, even back in the day, a priest will always act like they're doing the righteous way. Isaiah was the one who threw the proverbial wrench in their agenda. Okay, well, don't think that he's not exposing it again. Okay, that's why I said do not, especially with me and everybody else, I said do not disconnect from Messiah. because what's happening is there's a lot of people fighting for his chair. A lot of people are fighting for his chair. A lot of people have deceived you that they represent him and they're fighting for his chair. Okay. On top of that, they are trying to keep his sheep from returning to him by them becoming the shepherd that they're not supposed to be. Okay. And that's why, you know, when you start to expose these type of things, it affects people of how they're interacting with you, because it's like, wait a minute, I can see the spirit that's talking to me and it's not root, it's not true. Okay. I can see the spirit that's interfering and it's not right. You know, when people, that's why I say discern, you gotta discern people's spirits a lot, because they may sound like they have a lot of knowledge and they know a lot of things. Like I said, the fallen angels have been there since the beginning of time, and their minions are well rehearsed and well prepared to bring their father's agenda into play and work against the nZambi. And you're going to see now, as King Kongo returns to the throne, as they mocked him in the movie, okay, you're going to see who were the vipers, the brood of vipers, and who was really on the Most High side. Okay, now there's a lot of people out here talking about sin, talking about righteousness, talking about all these different things, and they have forgotten one very important key that the scriptures themselves even say. Did you want to tell me something? They talk about how when the time will come for the Most High to gather his bride back, for those who are found written in the book, that this is all connected, okay, in Daniel, their sins will be remembered no more. This is why the devil has tricked people into thinking there's people's names written in the book and there's people's names not written in the book. Okay. Kongo is the steward of this. He is the umbasi, the servant. Okay. He is the servant. You know, we're going to talk about that word servant in Kikongo. The Nsadi. That's why we say that song in Kikongo. Sadi. I heard this song. Sadi. Sadi. That's why they put it Sade in that woman's name. It means servant in Kikongo. Sadi. Okay. And there are many people, and I'm not just, this is no attack on any one person. Okay. There is a reason why Kongo said, let he or she, it really said them, you know, because it was any muntu, and muntu, mukento, as I learned, is woman, muntu, mukente, woman, or okay, but bantu, let anybody who is without sin cast this first stone. There's a reason why he said that. There's a reason why that is something that people don't comprehend its proper meaning. Okay? When a person becomes righteous with the Most High, or becomes cleaned up, or becomes better, or restored, the idea is behind that is you will now help others to do the same. But do you do it with condemnation? No, you do it with pity. That's why we have the heart issue. Your heart must be circumcised. The problem is people don't get it, that jealousy is sinning. Jealousy of another person is sinning. And if you choose to continue to have this mindset, you will still be a sinner. That's why, you know, one of the things I talk about, I know my gifts aren't as high as other people's gifts. And I'm here to learn how to improve that. The issue is when the Most High chooses something, And he has made a choice. If you decide as a person that you don't like the Most High's choice, then you are against the Most High. That's why he said, don't envy. He said, this is something, if I choose for one person to do this, if I choose for one person to do that, if I distribute a position to somebody and this is their job, and if you see that their job may be higher than yours, okay, then you cannot have envy or get jealous with them. You can't have that jealousy, because then the Most High says, well, then I can't use you. This is what happened with Sola, and Sola with Davidi. Saul disobeyed the Most High. I can't use you. You don't want to do what you didn't finish the job, so I can't use you. So now he goes and he run into all other spiritual things to go get, because the Most High quit talking to him. Okay, this is what people don't get. There's people out here, the Most High is not even talking to them, but they're insistent that he's talking to them. There's people out here the Most High was talking to, and then he stopped. But they're not going to tell you that. There's people out here, the Most High is refining, okay? He's still going to keep refining you like gold. Like he says, I'm going to keep building you up, because you have been chosen for a specific purpose to where you will overcome. Even though you go and you mess up, you're going to have to redo again. I got to rehash you, okay? There are people chosen for that. There's a reason why Tata nZambi does not reveal everyone's mission. There's a reason why the Most High does not reveal, because one of the things that I'm going to talk about what happened when I was listening to the guy, it was as a rapper, he put it out there, he has a channel, okay? And Willie D used to be with the Ghetto Boys. He's one of the people that he knows things about many things. And he talked about Bob Marley and about what happened to Bob Marley, okay? What people don't understand is, and I'm going to talk about the enemy within today, because see, the point of this video is the contract has expired, and the Most High is going to push the agenda. You know, when you have a contract and expired, you know, it's like they're saying, we want to renew the contract. Most High is like, you're not renewing the contract, it's over. You know, when you negotiate, I want to renew my contract. No, Tata nZambi is not renegotiating the extension of the captivity of the kingdom of Kongo, which the world does not even know has happened. Okay? The devil is trying to extend his time when his time is up. And we're going to talk about how he's doing that. Okay? All right, so let me play the music. Some Kim with Tata nZambi. If you can't hear it again, I'll put it in the thing. Okay, and then we're gonna get really deep on some stuff today that I got to come out with, because there's people out here, they're making assumptions off of false spirits, and I'm gonna tell you how that's working. They're making big assumptions. Once again, I don't own the rights to this music. It's not it's for edification only, not for redistribution. I don't have any intent to resell or any kind, but pretty for entertainment purposes only. What's going on with this? Come on. Sardine, see? Servant. Isso saves. Elongate, teacher. Jesus, you're gay. I know there's some people out here, they don't want to see when your sires show up, King Kongo. I'm gonna tell you right now, they're gonna watch. Because he knows they fighting for his throne. They already got an boy, there's an imposter out there. Kongo, Tata. Como Tata nZambi similar. Shetani similar. Kwenda. Na como Tata nZambi dizendo. Kwenda. Como Tata nZambi dizendo. Ya Kongo. Simias. Kwenda. Oh, righteous spirits. Kwenda. Como Tata nZambi dizendo. Ya Kongo. Incubus. Kwenda. All praises. Kimbo na Tata nZambi. Hallelujah. Tata nZambi Pungu Father, come once again humbly before you. Manakumba say, Mana, Imana Vela la Mustari Steto, Sakupan Zinga. Kimbo Tata nZambi, we come knocking once again for your throne. Humbly we beseech you, Tata nZambi, that the words of our mouth and the meditation of our heart be acceptable in thy sight. Kimbo, hallelujah, Tata nZambi. Bawadi kolele for zonos against thee. We know, Tata nZambi, that we as a people are making the Pemba Kalunga angry. That the Maliki Makongo and all our ancestors of yestertime are frustrated with us. That we're allowing the false one to continue to deceive many hearts and minds. And that Tata nZambi, we're looking to bring our people together and not to continue to drive a wedge between our people. But will help those who are speaking to you and talking with you, Tata nZambi, to understand the intentions is to bring the family back together, not to pull it apart. That Tata nZambi, we will do the righteous path and do the way that you have instructed us to do so, to bring our people back to the Kingunza, the way of the Tata nZambi that was taught by many of your prophets before us, without all of the wicked intentions of the enemy. Nakomia bene yabe Kongo, isete kukuzu, bayete nkosi. Tata nZambi Pungu Father, ingeta. Yenge kena to the Pemba Kalunga, Akonga Akongo. Yenge keno to the righteous elders of the Pemba Kalunga, of the highest heavens, the Zulu, the seventh heaven and above. We give honor to you today, all the righteous of Mbana and Saka Yakubi, down to Tata Adama and Mama Eva, that continue to cry because they know, Tata nZambi, that the wicked one, she deceived us about who she is. She even cried out for her mercy, which you did not give it, which was done. Let them all be taken as was done in the prayer. Kimbo, hallelujah. Tata nZambi, as they fight, help us to fight back. Assalamu alaikum, Kongo. All praises to nZambi. The fight that is here, they do not want to go peacefully. They're going to fight their way back. You know, I talked about some months ago because, you know, even before I knew there was a Bantu awakening, I knew Africa was a key to this. I never met any of these people. I came to know them through other people in this awakening. And, you know, if it's one thing that I know what the Most High did for me, is he gave me a discernment that I need to pay closer attention to not being distracted. Does it always happen? No, because see, there's an agenda. My goal, that low humming, the wonder must be coming in. All praises. The wonder coming in, Isaiah's coming in. I hope he comes down to Kongo. I hope he's in the presence, that he'll come and speak with him today, because he understands that the agenda from the time that I've done this is to find the truth, the real truth, okay, to help fix many of my indiscretions and issues, as many of us, to seek a relationship with the Father the best way I can, and to restore the balance that was taken away. And which, if that means bringing the sheep back to the correct shepherd, and that means also to expose the wolves in sheep's clothing. That's why the wolves in sheep's clothing will say, no, that guy right there, he's a wolf in sheep clothing. And this comes from all different areas, because a wolf will never tell you he's a wolf when he's pretending to be a sheep. I've said this many times. That's why they don't like it when you're exposing the wolves in sheep clothing, because what that does is it makes them become naked. Okay. You know, there was a sister that I talked to some time ago when she talked about a vision she had, and she knew the time was coming where her nakedness would be exposed, and we talked about that. There's some people I talked to this week, and we had some interactions. We said, yeah, we're getting closer to that time when the nakedness of this world will be exposed. It's already happening on Twitter, man. I've been interacting with people on there, and there's stuff coming out now, but yet the blind will stay blind. Okay. The NWO's agenda, okay, is to keep Esau on his throne. Is to keep the fallen angels in their place. Okay. Is to keep Isaiah from his throne. In Simba Wayuda. This is the NWO agenda. The NWO has many different faces. Okay. And they can act like you wouldn't believe. Okay. And those who have abilities to see things can be manipulated in what they think they know. Okay. One of the things that I've learned, when you have envy of your brother or sister, because this is a demon, okay, is you can be easily misled by false thoughts. Okay. People can come and say something to you, and then you'll right away want to do something about it. What did you say? I heard you said this. I heard you said that. That's one of the devil's greatest tools to keep the Makanda apart. They did that with the whole concept of colonization when they came to the Kingdom of Kongo, and they're still doing it now. It hasn't stopped. Okay. There's agents everywhere. It isn't like they didn't know that this time was coming. They were prepared for it already. Okay. They knew that they had to infiltrate wherever they needed to infiltrate, and they had to use whatever means to infiltrate no matter what, because there's a way to control people through these rituals that they do to where they can make you into the person that they want you to be. Okay. And you encounter this person and you don't even know that they're in a trance, that they're working for the enemy, but because of their programming, okay, you don't know what they're doing. Okay. Hypnosis is huge when it comes to programming people to get people to do what they want. Okay. I talked about the Pinocchio spells. There's a reason why people think witchcraft is fake. Okay. Because you're programmed to think like that. There's a reason why you think your enemy, this is why we call it the enemy within, even with your own self. You can attack yourself with your own thoughts. You can attack others with your thoughts. See, when we talk about that, everything is spiritual, okay? Our energy, and this is why even with myself, I'm trying to force myself to rise higher with all of the lassos that they're throwing out there to keep myself down. And I told my wife this many times. I said, look, when you have light, or you're a person with the correct light, this is when the environment of the enemy becomes your greatest threat, because that false light never wants to be extinguished. Okay. So he has already planned many things way ahead of everybody to make sure that his light doesn't get extinguished. But he knows that at some point it will be. Okay. He will be done. But he's made people think, well, I'm on board with the right way to not go along with him. Okay. This is part of the reason why when I was given the privilege of observing things, why I was told to keep silent. And when I say there's a strong delusion on everybody, I do mean everybody. And I understand the agenda clearly. Okay. That's why people have already messed up. That's part of the reason why the Most High did some things and people have already failed in that mission. Okay. The revelation will come in this next phase, because soon people are going to start changing and into what they've been trying to prevent. Okay. Because the whole concept of what their agenda is to stop the illumination period. The illumination period is when we transition back to, and then of course they coded it in the Wizard of Oz. Okay. They didn't tell people that, and the Wiz was the more accurate version, is that when these powers that be start to diminish and the magic is no longer there, then will come the change. Okay. I'm going to show you a scripture. This is where they get the first John from, by the way, but it's called the Epistle of John. There's a reason why they didn't put this in the Bible, because it makes it more clear he's not talking about the Gentiles. It's called the Epistle of John. It's going to give you a lot more clarity as to what was being said, even though they still put the wrong name in there, because they're not going to get away from that. We were at this a function yesterday, and we heard the name Joshua. I said with my wife and I looked at each other, that's the name. They don't even know that's the Joshua is the Jesus is Joshua. That's the Jesus. And I think it's funny because I was like, I wonder if they did that on purpose so that people wouldn't know that, oh yeah, we just said the real Jesus name. And people don't even know that that's the Joshua, Yiswe. They said his name. I'm like, yeah, that's the name. The people hear, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. But second, let me get the share going. You know, because a lot of people don't get it that these lost scriptures are lost for a reason. Because what they do is they distinctly tell you that the Gentiles can never be equal to the Jews. Okay. And that's why the whole concept of the NWO was to make sure, because Esau stole his brother's identity, the concept is we're going to keep you, Esau, in his place. And he's trying to continuously push the agenda that he's not going nowhere. All right. And that's the NWO, because see, like I told you, he was a Muntu. He was a Bakongo. He was a Ben nZambi, a Ben Isolele. They know that. Okay. That's why everything's been altered, so that you don't know that. He spoke Kikongo. He speaks Kikongo fluently. Okay. So he knows the language. Even, better than many people out here. So he knows how to manipulate the language. He knows the history of everything that has taken place from the time we went into Engipity. Because people don't understand, I'm going to read this book of Jasher this clip, about why the Edomites became our enemy, but we shouldn't abhor them, has to do with what happened with what Yosef did, one who were in Engipity. It also comes back to there's an alliance that was formed between them and the Hittites, and I'm going to go over that today, some stuff that will expose more about why the world cannot see what's going on, because there's always been this agenda in place. They sit there and they get angry with the people who call themselves the Jews. Okay, you'll see that there's a lot of attacks against them. The issue, though, is as you attack them, and this is why they laugh, and then you hate, and they say, oh, and then we hate the blacks. They said they laugh because it's like, no, technically you hate the converts and the bloodline at the same time. And they laugh about that. They know. It's like you hating the people who are the converts and you're hating the people who are the bloodline at the same time. But see, when you catch the thief, they're now going to start saying, wait a minute, these people are bringing this out. This is why people don't get it, is everything that's now happening in this world is a cleanup operation. But they're disguising it as wars because of all the stuff that they did around the world, where they did a lot of scientific things, because in America, they have to pretend to these people that they're not doing things and say, oh, we have laws against that. So, you can't do this, you can't do that. Congress has made these laws. Well, that's not the way it is in other countries where they have influenced the leaders. They pay people off so they can go off, and make they put it in even in the movies, because the devil has the people have been lied to. The devil has to reveal certain things, but he did it in code. Just like this new Transformer movie that's coming out. That's going to tell you that some things happened back in 1984 that people don't know, when they brought out that cartoon and everything, and the Beast Wars and all this other stuff. They even mock Isaiah now as a transforming gorilla. Okay, they even say Donkey Kong, shut up, in the trailer when I was checking it, and it was like, because people don't know Optimus Prime is really the false Messiah. He's Nimrod. Okay, but they make him look like he's the best thing that ever happened when he's a fool. Okay. So let me get into this scripture, the first epistle of Ioanni. From the start, we heard, saw with our eyes, and touched with our hands concerning the wisdom of life. And this life became manifest, and we have seen, testified, and proclaimed to you the everlasting life that has been with the Creator and became to manifest to us. So see, the Creator has always been about everlasting life. And this is what these other people out here are trying to figure out, because they don't want that everlasting death. They want the everlasting life. But they have tricked people into thinking, oh, through this Jesus guy that Christianity gave us, we're going to get everlasting life, when you don't understand. No, they gave you an imposter. And they hid the identity of the real one because we turned against him. Okay? We turned against him in the Most High. You think, but like I said, Christianity thinks that they're talking to the real God of creation when they're talking to the imposter. How do you know that? Because Rome has never been about the real Creator. They've been about control. but they use their authority, they call it, to influence the way you think. And then, of course, when the protests happen, the concept is you think that that changed anything when it did not. You still follow Greco-Roman culture. You're thinking that you went back to the way of like the first churches who didn't do none of this stuff that you're doing out here in the West. The first churches didn't celebrate. I just saw recently now they're going to go back to the calendar that puts them in alignment with Rome. I'm like, there you go right there. This is the deception, okay? And so people believe in their minds Rome has the way to the Most High. No, they do not. And people are convinced the protest that they did fixed that when it did not, okay? And this life became manifest. We are reporting to you that we have seen and heard so that you too may become friends with us as we are friends with the Creator and with his representative, Yesaya, Jesus is not the person. The anointed of God. And this is where it says, this is where we get Kongo, the anointed one of truth. Because we did not say God. And they know that. The anointed of nZambi, the Bantu Bendwe, okay? This is where you get Yesue from, Abantu Bendwe, the people of the way. We are writing these things so you become filled with joy. Okay? And this is the message that we have heard from him and report to you. They're going to put God is radiant. Okay, this is that whole conditioning process of ignorance. You put that name is hypnosis because it's dog backwards. Okay? Because Nimrod is the dog god. That's why even the name God comes all the way from ancient Egypt. Okay? It was using the Germanic tribes. They know that. So the Christian world is not even saying the right name. So you're already off. So there's no way you're in the way. Okay? nZambi and Pungu is who the Christians think they are praying to. But they're not. Sorry for the noise. Tata nZambi and Fumu Yahweh Kongo is who Christianity thinks that they're praying to. Okay? That's why anybody that doesn't know the Most High, their spirit is going to be against it. Anybody who's filled with Jezebel, because the Jezebel spirit hates King Kongo. Esau hates King Kongo. Everybody hates King Kongo. And then there are those who say they love the Most High. Okay? But the way you hate King Kongo is not doing what he says. Or causing people to stumble who want to love King Kongo. That's another thing. Because the Most High understand there are those of us out here, we are fighting to be back with the Father, and they are putting stumbling blocks. They're not bringing unity, they're bringing disunity. And the Most High don't like it. I'm telling you right now. And I'm telling you right now, when you bring it, when you're bringing disunity, because I know Angola is the place where we're going. I know that Mbanza Kongo is the king's seat. I know that Africa is going to be the rise. That's why they're fighting these leaders so hard to stop them. People don't even know what Russia's really doing. Okay? When Russia paid off Africa's debt, you are now in debt to Russia. Ha! Don't think you're not. When Russia's out here doing this stuff because their ruble now goes by gold standard, they already knew the plan. They're not on opposite sides like you think. They're made to look that way. They're all part of the NWO agenda. Because the concept is Kongo cannot sit on his throne. period. But at the same time, make it look like you're fighting for Kongo in the NWO system. But make the Christians believe what we told them, and it's all part of their mind game, okay? Tata nZambi is radiant, in him exists no darkness, period. He's full light. If we say we are friends with him, now watch this, because this is even myself. This is why we have to guard our steps, always. But see, here's the thing. The most, like Tata nZambi the one that has expressed to me, if somebody puts a knife in your back, you're going to stumble. If somebody's going to put, it's kind of like, you know, you're speeding down the highway and you see those cops, they throw out the spike strips to stop you, okay, so that you're going to crash, okay? If you have people doing that, the Most High looking at you like, hey, what are you doing? This person is trying to stay on the path and you threw out the spike strips so they can go crashing and stumbling and falling. I'm going to talk about the scripture that talks about that. The Most High isn't going to have as much of a problem with the person who stumbled as the person who threw out the spike strips. Hey, nah, bro, sister, brother, you can't do that. This person is running to me. It's kind of like when you run in a race, right? Okay, and you've seen people have seen this commercial where the little boy walks out and he's listening to whatever he's listening to, and he walks out onto the track, and the guy has to make a move, and then he runs and he still wins. Okay, you have to try to. If I have to go like this to get around it, to get to the Most High, that's called being. You know, you're trying to divert me. There's people out here in the spiritual world that are doing this, and they're not telling you that. A lot of them, okay? They're trying to put out the spike strips because they messed up, but they're not saying so. There are those who they have already messed up, but they don't even know it yet, okay? Because see, when he talks about this, if we say this is where the epistle, this is where 1 John, they didn't do the rest of it. Listen to the rest of it. They took it out. They didn't put it in there. If we say we are friends with him and yet we walk in darkness, now understand something, and this is what needs to be clear. King Kongo has sent his bride to be Gomer. He didn't bring the bride back yet. Okay? He is calling us to stop being Gomer, but this has to also be a one nation thing, not just individuals, a one nation thing. This is where Christianity themselves are deceived. Christianity thinks that they are the nation of Israel, but yet they're not in Israel. That's supposed to have been recreated in 1948. Why aren't you there? If you have replaced the 12 tribes, then you should be where the 12 tribes are supposed to be. You've been deceived. Like I said, you've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, buddy. Okay? You cannot be in the diaspora if you replace the 12 tribes. You're supposed to be home. That's why the people say, well, we got the people that came home now. We're the diaspora. We came out here. Where is the Most High? Then he should be here. Where's the Creator at if the diaspora has come home? Okay? Now, Tata nZambi is calling people back. And I love what this sister said that I saw in a note. You got to understand something about, there's a trick going on with this whole concept about passports and all that stuff. The leaders of Africa are not going to be in charge no more when Kwatulendo was here. So they don't get to dictate who comes and who goes ever again. The NWO understands this. There will be no more authority to anybody who has a say. The buck stops, you know, they say the buck stops here. The buck's going to stop with King Kongo, who comes and goes. Okay? The president of Angola, all these leaders right there, you over there seeing the president of Congo, the president of the prime ministers, the person who runs South Africa, they're not going to have any more authority to say who comes and goes and who goes where. Okay? The political aspect of this is that Tata nZambi understands there is a way he is going to get his. And Uzziah is a part of that. Okay, you better get ready for that. When they keep talking about the king is coming or the king is here or the king or whatever, if Uzziah is not in the midst of it, you know, when we talked about the next phase of the king that Simon Kimbangu prophesied, you got to remember, who was the teacher for Kimbangu? Who was the teacher for Toko? Who was teaching them the Most High's way? That they came and then taught to them. This is where the corruption needs to be recognized. Because like I said, the whole purpose of Uzziah is to make many Uzziahs, like himself, do what he did and more. This is where the dragon has interfered. You're supposed to have miniature messiahs running around here doing things the righteous way and without condemnation, but with what? Pity. It says here, if we say we are friends with Tata nZambi, with the Most High, and yet we walk in the darkness. This is everybody, me too, okay? We are being deceitful and not dwelling in the truth. Christianity is already worshiping Sol Invictus, so there's no truth there at all. They don't have it. They can never receive the truth from Sol Invictus. Rome knows that. But they're not going to tell you that. That's why it makes it easy to control you. If you don't have the truth, but you make you think that you have the truth. Okay? When I went to Africa and I was learning these things and I was watching and I was taking in a lot. Okay? The one thing that was plain and obvious to me at that time is the double-mindedness of so many things that was playing out in the land. Okay, the hypocrisy. Huge. And then who was behind it was obvious. Because, you know, when I was talking about the guy who he talked about how he was supposedly the one involved with Bob Marley. Okay. His exact words, if it were true, like the guy was saying, anything that's a threat to America has to be destroyed. People don't understand. Simon Toko and Simon Kimbangu and Padi and others like them, they are a threat to America. They are a threat to Rome. They are a threat to Britain. They are a threat to anybody who is worshiping Sol Invictus. Okay? Therefore, just like back in the days when Uzziah was walking, they had to find a way to circumvent into the network. That's why in the comment that he was talking, he said, you have to be careful who's around you in your inner circle. You have people that are in people's inner circles, and I can tell you, I know they're there, and all that they hardly ever talk. They hardly ever speak. They let the person keep talking all day long. They listen. They sing. They sing with you. They do all kind of things with you, and all they're doing the whole time is espionage. You don't even know it. The problem is because of the fact that things have already been brought off track that people don't know. It makes it easier for them to operate. Because we talk about the Kingunza and the corruption that took place after Kimbongo left and the corruption that took place after Toko left. He talked about it himself. I had a conversation with one of my Tokoist brothers. We had a nice long talk about this very thing that I'm talking about. Is you're not understanding, because his grandfather knew Simon Toko personally. Okay. And I was talking to him and I said, look, Mayamona did not come here just for people to start talking about him and all the things that he did. You're supposed to be many Mayamonas out here, like him, okay? At the same time, you cannot be allowing thoughts to come into your head that people are trying to deceive you all the time when they have good intentions. You got to know that. You see, as a brother of mine, he even said this. He said, man, guard that heart of yours. Because that's what everybody wants. They want the good hearts. And they want to use it for the wrong purposes. Because I know this brother has a good heart. The problem is the spiritual world is keeping him from becoming Mayamona, like the person running the church. Because that's not what the devil doesn't want that. He don't want many Mayamonas running around. When you say Mayamona, people who can see. Like I said, if you become like Jesus, and this is the Christian deception, then that pastor of yours is obsolete. Now you are just you're friends now. And yes, you're interacting with him and whatever you're doing, but now you know what he knows and more. And possibly more. Okay? A person who's dwelling in the truth, I want you to be better than me. I want you to do more. If I'm doing the Most High's way, we learn how to take the herbs and mix them together. We learn how the alligator seed you open behind your back. People talk about this. Okay, you know how to take the salt in the water. You drink it. You clap it 3 times because that's what we did. You know how to jump. We sealed it. We seal and we walk. Okay. Many people know these things. Okay. I'm gonna show you something about the scriptures and what Isaiah talked about. This is going to show you about being a teacher. Okay. But if we walk in the light as he himself is in the light, we share friendship with each other. Boom. In order for the Kintwadi to function, Everybody has to be walking in the light with no back door stabbing going on. Okay? This is the nature of what the NWO is. They want to make sure you people who are waking up to this concept of Yesiah, yeah, you're going to learn and you're going to get power, but we're going to keep putting that knife in your back so you don't get there fully. Okay? Because our goal is to keep Esau on the throne. That's their goal. Our goal is to keep Nimrod in his place. Okay? But shh. Don't tell nobody. You keep doing what you're doing and keep praying who we're praying to and whatever. You keep walking. And that's why there's people out here talking and talking and talking to people. And they're getting distracted. And they're doing it to you on purpose. This is one of the reasons why I had to step back and say, wait a minute. Does this person, do these people even see who's in their circle that's playing games? Do they see it? Do they see do they see the agenda that came before they even were born? That was already in place before they even started. The dragon knows who I am. The dragon knows who a lot of people are. And his goal, okay, is to use whomever he can to drive a wedge in the family. And tell you, and put that little birdie on your shoulder. Do you know, Brother Trey, he this, and this, and this? Do you know, Brother Sister so-and-so, this, and this? Do you know that? If you walk in the light, you will know that the agenda of the beast is to make you believe something that is not true. Always. You know, there's people out here that think there's a beef going on. I have no beef with nobody. I can tell you that right now. I heard this was a conversation I had. I said, I'm not arguing with nobody. I don't know who said that. So they must be saying something there. Okay? I'm not fighting with nobody. If there's people fight with me, I don't know about it. I'm just going along with something that ties to what I was shown that I needed to back up and watch people. Because you learn more from people when you're watching them from a distance and observing the actions than when you're just standing there in front of their face all day long. This is a fact. This is why Tata nZambi sits back and he just observes. He watches me. I mess up. Okay, he gets angry. I ask for, but then at the same time, he saw so-and-so, he threw out the spike trip. Boom. Okay? Our own brothers and sisters are doing that in high levels. You got to see, you know, they call people the magic man. There was a famous person called the magic man. You don't even know that there's more to it out here in America. There's people that do not want to see us succeed because then their world ends. Their wealthiness, they're driving their, I saw this guy, they were showing one of the boxers and he had all these cars in his garage. And I'm like, This is what they want us to see. Man, let me see. Let me show you. I got 20 cars out here. The creator don't care about none of that. That's the big lie. Oh, God blessed me with this. No, he did not. The real God did not. The real God knows you're using your platform to make other people stumble. Okay? This is where we're going to get into it deeper. Then the essence of Yesaya, his representative, purifies us of our transgressions. People, Kuswa Kongo is the door to Tata nZambi. There are people wanting to keep Esau on the throne, either in their own thoughts, because they're being misled by Esau himself, or people working with him directly. You think they're not, they are. Okay? You think they're not, oh, they are. He's there in the midst. He's not. I told people, get this race thing out of your head. He is a spiritual being. He is Simon the sorcerer, who was a Bantu. He don't want Kuswa Kongo anywhere near that throne. In Simba. He wants to keep Tata nZambi out from Mount Zion, which isn't going to stop. Mount Zion's coming no matter what. But you're going to see when King Kongo comes to Mount Zion, woo! I can't talk about division. He won't let me. He said no. I can't talk about division yet. But I'm telling you, people, I know what people are trying to do to my household. Okay? When I went to the function yesterday, it was obvious. They're going to keep pushing their agenda. Oh, yeah, go out, change the world. You guys are going to beat this guy. You know, I told people, hey, if you're going to learn their knowledge, that's great, but use it against them. Don't believe it all. Because it's not true. What they're teaching, and I was listening, like I said, the geologist lady, 300-some million years old, and the number 3 is there. When she said it, that tells you you're being played because they use that number. Okay? Are we duping you? They know how those trees got petrified the real way. Okay? But they're not going to tell you that because they're trying to kill King Kongo. They're all against him. And they've even got his own servants now turning against each other. Know this. Because they played this game. They played this game all day long with the spy game. That's the whole concept of what they do when they take over. Get people to turn against one another, infiltrate. That happened when Toko was walking. He knew that they did that. So did Kimbangu. Hey, they're trying to get us to turn against one another out here. Remember, the Most High says, how did they get to Yesaya? He asked his disciples, sleep, wait, stay awake, don't fall asleep. That's the whole concept with the tares. The Bantu people went to sleep under the spells of Lilith. The Bantu people went to sleep. And now all these tares are out here and they don't want to give it up. How does the tear work? They're going to talk about this. You grow your grass out here, okay? I talked about this. You want your grass to become luscious and green. Remember, I talked about, remember. So you got to put down the weed killer that's choking the grass. okay? The problem is if the weed killer is too strong, it will destroy the grass with it, right? Because the grass, especially, that's why when they say when you plant new seed, don't put no weed killer on there, because it'll kill the grass. It's germinating. It's going to kill the grass too. The Bantu people awakening, the true people, we're in a germination process. Okay? This is why Toko was such a deception. I'm not deception, an enemy to the establishment, because they knew he came to expose the tares. No, that ain't gonna work. That's why they had to do everything to infiltrate and watch people, and they still watching people and doing what they're doing to keep people from knowing you got played. Okay? If we claim to be without transgression, oh boy, this is how it gets very clear. We deceive ourselves and the truth. This is what, man, let me go back to how this is what it was supposed to say. Let's go back to it. But as we can be sure we have come to him if we keep his commandments. If anyone says, I know him, but does not keep his commandments, he is a liar and the truth is not in him. Let me show you what they changed it from. Bam. If we claim to be without transgression, we deceive ourselves and the truth is not with us. That's the actual correct way. If we admit our transgressions, he is merciful. Now this is the part. Let me go and see if they got the next part in John in this First John. 1 John 2. Let me see if they say that. Okay. So sorry for the noise. First John 2. Now it says, if anyone, it says, because you got to go to the next word. It says, if anyone obeys his word, love for Tata nZambi is truly made complete in them. This is how we know we are in him. Whoever claims to live in him must live as Yesaya did. This is where we called it Yesue. Mm-hmm. The way that saves. We must live as Yesaya did, Yesu. Okay? Yesaya didn't stab people in the back. Now, did he want to get rid of people that were misleading the Most High's way? Of course. But for those who were seeking that way, he did not throw out spike trips, and he didn't go believing what people say that wasn't true. Because like I said, this is the whole NWO agenda, is to turn the servants of the Most High against themselves. And they have almost succeeded. You don't even know. They get you thinking about who's trying to come at me, and you lose your focus. Or who's against me out here? Okay. You know, they say you get them thoughts in your head. Oh, this person's trying to do it. That's the whole concept of the secret societies. That's the whole concept of what they're doing. They want you to think that there's people out here trying to take from you what's yours. And they're doing that to many people, when that's not the case. But then there are people out here pretending to be the Most High's servants that are trying to keep the false Messiah on the throne, but manipulating what was taught by others who came. Okay? See how they get crafty with the scriptures, even with the way they're doing it. That's what it was supposed to say. Now look what they put. But see, the problem is this is specifically showing you that there is a group of people that can only fit this versus the others who cannot. You cannot have idol worship going on and fit this. If we admit our transgression, he is merciful and righteous and will forgive our transgression and cleanse us of our wickedness. If we claim we have not made transgressions, we deem him false, and his wisdom is not within us. This is part of the reason why you got to be careful throwing stones. I'm going to go to the proper, this is the Gospel of Matthew, people. I'm going to show you, I'll get to the Gospel of Mary here in a minute, Malia. There's a reason why it's not in there. Okay? And they'll talk about the revelation of Peter. Let's go to the Lost Gospel of Matthew, and I'm going to go to Matthew 24. Watch this. It's going to blow you away. I've actually had another version that I read too in the past. This is why I know the one they put in the Bible is not completely accurate. We're going to go through Matthew 24 with this Lost Gospel version and see if you catch the discrepancies. Then Uzziah went out of the temple and was walking away with his Abafunia disciples, betrothed to him the buildings of the temple. Uzziah said to them, Yesweh, don't you see all these things? Truly I tell you, there will not remain one stone upon the other that has not been crumbled. Okay, so you already have a lie that's been done, that's over in the land. Then he sat on the Mount of Olives, that the Abafuni came to him asking, tell us when will these things occur? And what must take place before your presence at the end of this lifetime? Reads a little bit differently than what they're teaching people, right? Uzziah said to them, be careful not to be deceived by anyone. Who is he talking to? This is where Christianity is ignorant. He's talking to his disciples. The problem is you got people running out here saying, I am a disciple now of Christ. And he did not call you. Because that's how you know there's an imposter deceiving people. Uzziah himself, the Messiah himself must choose you. And see, the problem is there are those he didn't choose that they're throwing out the spike trips, making you stumble. And they're opening up the sheep gate and they're letting the wolves in. This is how they made millions and billions of dollars off of the biggest lie they ever told you by switching the messiahs to Apollo from King Kongo. And then they made up these words. There was no such thing as a Jew. That's a mockery Satan did against the sheep. But I said, let people say what they want to say. Okay, let them believe whatever they want. It was a Banazat, it was a Bayuda. Bayaunde is the word. Okay? But let them people say what they want. Esau is going to keep himself on the throne. His time is up. He's trying to get extra time by keeping people asleep. But the Most High is going to keep exposing his lies, and then he's going to hit them with the hammer. The hammer's about to come down on all of Esau's lies, including that he put himself on the cross. You cannot get salvation through Esau. No way. Him and Nimrod chilling on the cross together, you can't do that. And Rome did that. And Christianity never changed it. Be careful not to be seen, because many will come in my name saying, I am the anointed one. In Kongo, what we called it. In Fumu Yesu Christu. Okay? And will deceive many. See, by them keep talking about the word church, which church in itself comes from the word circus in the Latin. Circa is where that word comes from. You are really in a circus, and that's why they're making you running around. I saw this video where they had that one guy, he was a pastor, and he said one word, and people started jumping up and down and started dancing and going crazy. And you look at him like, what is wrong with you? That's not how the Holy Spirit works. The Holy Ghost Spirit doesn't make you start running, jumping up and going into convulsions and stuff. Or going on the floor and start like you're having a seizure. That's a lie. That's a spell. Okay? That's not what happens. It's more like you get an epiphany, like, whoa, oh my gosh. I messed, oh man. Woo! That makes you excited, like, whoa. But then you get sad, like, oh, how stupid am I? Whoa, wait a minute. Okay? It's a transitional thing. Oh, wait a minute. Biden is a what? Okay? It's a transition of now revelation. Oh, whoa, wait a minute. Who am I talking to? Okay? And will deceive many, starting with the sorcerer Simon, the Wizard of Oz. He has been deceiving people for 1900 years, if that. If he's the one that changed times and laws, because he was Esau in spirit. So Esau is the one that Daniel's talking about. He's above Nimrod because he killed him, but they're all gods together. All of these people don't understand that the Washington Monument is Sol Invictus. It is Nimrod. It is not the creator. That thing is flipping him off. Okay? The same thing in France. The same thing they have in Brazil, Argentina, all over the place. I was in Angola, all of the light posts are obelisks. That's flipping the Most High off. Okay? I can see the shape of it like, whoa, okay. They're surrounded by these things. That's why they don't see what I'm talking about. Because watch this, because tribe will rise against tribe and village against village. Who was living like that? The moon too. If you would have seen it written like that, hey, that's talking about us. And then you see what happened with Native American. People forget how tribal Europe was. Okay? They were tribes. And in some places there will be in some places there will be famines and storms. But all these things are just the beginning of your tribulations. Boom! Wait a minute. This changes the game of your interpretation if this is in the Bible. Because he's saying this is the beginning of the Bantu's tribulation. That's why when they throw us on the slave ship, oh yeah, that was the beginning of the tribulation. And then they did all the slaving. And then they did all this stuff. And then they put you in this world where they got you dangling the carrots. You don't know why they're going through the school system is making many versions of what they want you to think. And then they made you think that it's the Most High's way or that you're doing it right when you're ticking them off. You don't even know. Then they will deliver you to be persecuted, and you and shall ruin you, and you will be hated by many people on my account. Who are the most hated people in the world? The Kongo. Black folk. They say black folks. No, there's not everybody's the same. Yeah, they don't like them, but they really hate Bantu people. They don't like us at all. That's why they won't even give us our identity back. They hate the Muntu. That's why they have trained people not to know the difference between different black folks. This is why they set up all them wealthy black people that are playing with your head. Okay? And then many will become offensive and will betray you, and will hate one another. This is where I'm talking about where the devil is now using this awakening to do just that. He's using this because, see, the translation from the Kongo, you see the difference? This is what the Bantu translations really should have said. Now it would have hit home. Oh, wow, that's us. He's talking about the Muntu. If you would have left it like this instead of the way they got it now, that's why the book of Matthew is written in the third person. And this is the lost version. Okay? And many false prophets will arise and deceive many. Christianity thinks that's just happening now. No, that's been going on for 1,000+ years. You're already deceived by false prophets. And through the manipulation of lawlessness, now listen to this, and through the multiplication of lawlessness, the multiplication, meaning people claiming to follow the law but not, the love of the people will grow cold. The love of many people will grow cold. This is why people don't love each other, including us. But he who stands firm to the end will be saved. Is a different thing. And the gospel of the sanctuary will be preached throughout the land as a witness to the people, and when your time of death will come. A little bit different, huh? What sanctuary? But that's not the word we use. The nZambi, the house. The gospel of the house will be preached. Whose house? Remember, Isaiah said, I am the temple. That's why the switch was made. Okay? When you see thus the abomination of devastation that will be spoken through Daniel the prophet, remain at the holy place. Let those who recognize this understand. Then allow those in Yaoundé, Judah, to flee into the mountains. He was talking about the mountains of Kongo. Do not let those in the housetops come down to take anything out of the house. I'm going to tell you right now, I heard people talking about, you're going to bring your stuff, I get it. But see, the point is, there's going to come a time you ain't going to have time to pack no bags. It's about to get crazy because it's already starting. And the grief of those with child and those who nurse during that period. Do you see how it kind of changes when you see the interpretation is a little bit different. But pray that your departure will not be in the winter, nor on the Sambwadi. People, June the 1st is on a Wednesday, which is technically the correct why I told you the hump day really should be the rest day. But we'll see. Because there will be great suffering, such as not seen since the beginning of this society. This society. So he's not, you see what they did in the original book, in the Bible's translation? They made it into a worldly thing. No. This is why they're shooting like crazy in the Kongo. This is why you saw all the world, the wars, the proxy wars, the CIA, the Russia, all these people doing proxy wars. You see the suffering nor into its future. This is why Toko said, you're going to see the Most High bring bloodshed that is going to take 3 days to wash it out to the ocean. That's not just going to happen in Angola. It's going to happen everywhere. Unless their time has been cut short, no one will be safe. Unless their time has been cut short. Do you see what they did? If the times have not been shortened. No. If their time had not been cut short, no one will be safe. Whose time? The imposter. That's why they've changed the time. Rather, for the sake of the chosen, their time will be shortened. This is why they had to make everybody feel that they were chosen. That's why Esau playing with people. Not everybody's chosen. Then if anyone says to you, look, there is the anointed, don't believe it. You've already had that happen with several people. Even Toko said, I am not the anointed one. I come with him. Skimbangu said the same thing. Okay? They learned from the anointed one. That's why they wanted to destroy him. Look now, I have told you beforehand. Wait a second. Because many false messiahs will rise and false prophets who will show you great miracles and feats. Oh, they erased that. We go back to the Matthew 24. That's not in there. If indeed it is possible and will deceive even the chosen. There's the lying signs and wonders of 2 Thessalonians. This is why the Mundeli, the Kadiampemba, the Muzungus, and even ourselves have now fallen for some tricks. He said they're going to show you miracles and feats, but it's not me. Y'all going to find out. Watch. Look, now I have told you beforehand. So if they say to you, look, he is in the desert, don't go out there. Or look, he is in the private room, don't believe it. Beginning just as the lightning that comes from the east and also visible west shows how the presence of the servant of humanity. Oh, they changed it. The coming of him. No, the presence. He's in the midst already. Yeah. They have the presence of the servant has been in the midst of other people, and they did not even recognize it. Around the world, even they go looking for Jesus, and he's in the presence already. People gonna find out, because wherever there is a carcass, vultures will gather. You know, we talk about that's the fulfillment of when they put Toko's body, okay? But because wherever there's a carcass, the vultures will gather. That's a little bit different than how it reads in the other Matthew 24. Immediately after the tribulation of those times, the sun will grow dark, and the moon will lose its light, and the stars will fall from the sky, and the power of the heavens will be overthrown. You see why they omitted that? Because that means that the devil is up in the heavens. And he has to be overthrown. So he masquerades. I told people, they did not give you the correct interpretation of our scriptures on purpose. Because that tells you the devil is a prince of the air right there, and he has to be overthrown. Ben Anmuntu and the presence of the servant nSadi, the Ben Anmuntu nSadi will be seen in the spiritual realm. And then all the people of the material world will be sorry as they realize the servant of humanity has returned to the spiritual realm with strength and great splendor. Ladies and gentlemen, people, the Vatican and Christianity has lied to you. About what it means when the Messiah comes back. That's why he is already here and nobody sees it. I was told this long time ago, even before I was a Muntu. I'm already back. Because they're teaching it wrong. I'm in the spiritual realm. Did you see what they did? They looking for this Jesus in the cloud in the sky and everything. It doesn't mean you're not going to see the Most High break because you are going to see him break the firmament. Okay, but you see what they did. Everything is spiritual. The reason why Shaitani is now playing so many people is he knew that the spiritual realm is where it starts. And the Maleki Kongo, now watch this. And his angels will be sent forth with great sound, and they will gather together his chosen. Watch this. Watch this. From the four corners, from one end of the universe to the other. So what is he telling you? There are not only people scattered to the four. Who are the four corners? Who got scattered to the four corners of the earth? We did. They changed it. That right there says that's not talking about the Gentiles. Okay? That right there excludes the fact that he did say, I came for the lost sheep. That's why the other scripture says they will want to come with. Just like when we got brought back from Egypt the last time. Do you see what do you see why Revelation said, for those who say they are but are not, but are the synagogue of? Look what they did to the Matthew 24. From one end of the universe to the other. There goes your Close Encounters of the Third Kind. We got to bring people back that we took into the realms. You got people scattered in other places. Now learn a lesson from the fig tree. When its branch is still tender and brings forth leaves, you know the summer is near. Similarly, when you see all these things, recognize that he is near, right at the doorway. Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass before all of these things take place. The heavens and the earth shall pass away, but my words will not pass away. Let me explain something to you. That's why the real scriptures about to come out are going to go explode and blow everything up. Yesiah Kongo's words never passed away, but they got altered. They're not preaching the real gospel. And they know it. They're preaching Nimrod and Tammuz and Cain. There's a guy, brother and I, we talked about that when we said the New Testament actually came before the Old Testament in most cases, because they took the false Messiah and mixed it with the real one. Now you see why they did that. They changed Matthew 24, people. No one knows the day or the hour, not even the Maliki Kongo, the spiritual realm, nor the representative, but only my Lord, Tata nZambi. Only the creator. Now, of course, then you got Christians running around. No one knows the day or the hour. No one knows the day or the hour. Okay, but we already, I heard midnight out of the mouth of Joe Biden, which goes back to the Maliki Siddiqui saying the midnight hour. But as the days of Noah were, so shall be the presence, not the coming. You see what they did? He's actually here. The presence, not the coming. Oh, they played, people. Of the servant of humanity. And there was a brother who did a teaching on it. He said, he's no longer sitting next to the Father. He's down here and he's watching. Uzziah been here. And he's watching people. Even me, I get so mad when I mess up. But he knows that there's people out here that they are opening up the sheep gate and they're letting the wolves in. The sorcery is out there like in droves, because his presence is already here. This is why you're getting the really bad hurricanes. This is why you don't understand that the word typhoon comes from Esau's godhead to the Romans. The Most High is controlling all the spiritual world, and they are doing according to his works. He is behind everything, including the false thoughts. I shall send thee a strong delusion of anybody who believes a lie, is really what it should have said. I found out was the Most High will send a strong delusion for any of those who believe a lie that he did not send. Okay? Because just as in the days, now watch this, prior to the flood, there was eating and drinking. So they were partying, marrying and giving in marriage. So people were having weddings. All he was saying is that people were distracted. Distracted. And I mean, oh yeah, you in the repeat. Distracted, all right, by the false prophets too. Oh, rapture coming. You see why they changed the tribulation? No, there's no pre-tribulation liars. You're in it now. You're going to get jacked up. He's going to do the Jezebel. I'm throwing you into tribulation. Until, and understood nothing until the flood came and carried them all away. So shall the presence of the servant of humanity. Christianity is full They're waiting on a Messiah to come. And it does not say that. It says, when I am in the midst, all of this is happening. Kongo is here. He's watching everybody. His presence is already here. This is why the world is going crazy right now. Isaiah is here. And he's seen what people did. I don't tell you, man. People already done messed up. Maya Mona is here. Watching. Looking. Seeing what's going on. And every time, I'm telling you, he's writing it down. Just like when he said, I put the name of those who cast in stones. I don't cast stones at nobody. He writing it down just like them. Okay, you casting stones, I got you. Okay, you casting stones, I got you. I got you. You telling people you me, I got you. It's been, and then that's why when I was said, we almost finished, is what I was giving last year. When we get finished, okay. We getting close. They really getting close now. Because see, they wanted to see who was being honest and who was faking people out. They wanted to see who was really trying to bring people to the Most High and who was being a worker of iniquity out here. That's the reason why they said, break open this scripture today. He said Matthew 24 and the 1 John is completely misinterpreted. Watch this next phrase. Then two will be in the field. One will be taken and the other left behind. This is not a rapture, people. This is death. This is reaping. Two will grind at the mill. One will be taken and the other left behind. Because he said, the presence of the servant of humanity, like the days of Noah before the flood came. He's not coming to save the ungodly. No. Meaning those who are out here preaching another Jesus, those who are out here trying to be Jesus, Messiah, and those who are out here opening the sheep gate to the wolves. You have so many wolves in sheep's clothing. And they throwing out the spike trips for those who see it. Ouch, I'm getting pricked. That's why I'm trying my best to stay with him. But see, the problem is to be nZambi in this country. Go look and see what happened to the dude in Brazil. You become nZambi in America. That's why I told people, go right ahead. You come over here as an Ngunza. That's fine. Step foot off the plane in America. They know who you are. The Most High has things that has to be done. Esau is not going to get kicked off of his throne in America unless the Most High takes him off. And I know who he is. He's already sitting here on his throne. Watch therefore, because you do not know the hour that nZambi will become present. All you have to do is change words in the Bible, and you get a total different understanding of this book. What he's saying is, watch out, therefore, because you do not know what hour Tata nZambi will be in the midst. Out of nowhere. Ooh, I'm here. Ooh, Tata nZambi's in the presence. Uh-oh. I've been messing around. But know this. If the owner of the house had known the time the thief would come, he would have watched and would have not allowed his house to be broken into. Therefore, you should also be ready, for you will not know the hour that the servant of humanity becomes present. He's already present, and he's already watching. And I'm always asking him to please keep me. And he's like, I got you, because I know who's behind it. I know what they're doing, and I'm not blind. Who then is faithful and a wise servant that his master has made the managed other his household to give him food at the right time? Do you understand that that's why you cannot force the Most High to give you more than you can handle? And there are some people the Most High has given them food, and they're doing the same thing like what Simon the Sorcerer is doing in his churches. Beg for it. Beg for it. What you going to give me? Bilaka is that servant whom when the master comes shall find him doing so. This is why I'm giving you the food. Okay? To understand that your house, because the Josiah is going to pounce. Let me show you, okay, you remember how they mocked him in Simba as the Lion King? He's now skulking in the grass because they mocked him with the pounce. Okay? And he about to pounce. Boom! You didn't even see me where I was hiding. Out of nowhere. Josiah! Josiah! They're going to scream. Because those who know him, they're going to say it. Oh, Josiah! I got you. He's going to pounce on some people. All the people that's worshiping Baal. And he know it. Oh, it's Josiah. He's going to pounce. Because he's skulking in the grass right now. And you can see right now he's going to start exposing all kind of pastors. It's already starting. He is going to pounce. Boom. Oh. It's Mufa. Oh, it's the nZambi. You're going to see it. Truly I say to you that he shall make him the master over all his goods. But if a wicked servant should say within himself, my master has been delayed, you have no idea how many people are saying that as the bounty people. Oh, we don't see him yet, okay? And begins to whip the fellow servant and eats and drinks with the drunkards. And what he really let me explain this scripture because they're not interpreting right. It means, like what I just said, you're throwing out spiritual spikes and making people stumble. And you're bringing harm to them, both physically and spiritually. Okay? This is what he's talking about because it talks about the spiritual realm. He's in the spiritual realm and he's seeing the people who are causing spiritual harm. Okay? And they are, when it talks about drunkards, he's not just talking about the physical, he's talking about the harlot wine drinkers. okay? The harlot line. The master of that servant will come at a time when he expects him not, and in an hour he was not expecting, and he will cut him down and assign him a place with the hypocrites. And there will be weeping and suffering. You see how they changed that place? People, all I'm going to say is I've seen that last scripture. I am not going to cast stones. I am not saying that I am always doing it right, the right way, because I know there's much still to learn. I'm actually going to talk about real quick. We're going to go to the Gospel of Mary. I'm going to show you why they didn't put it out there. Watch this. Will matter. Remember we talk about in science, the Most High has an alchemy. Will matter then be destroyed or not? The Savior said, that's what Mvuluzi in Kongo is, the nature of every form, every creature, everything that exists within each other, and again, they will dissolve into their own origin. This is where, people, the Yaya, I believe, and others have talked about in the Most High's realm, everything is the same. Okay? This is the nature of matter. It dissolves into only the things of its own nature. This is why you cannot mix certain things and not affect your body. This is what they learned to destroy us. We mixed with things that are not ours, and now you are being destroyed. One who has ears to hear should listen. So a Muntu or a Bakongo cannot become any other tribe but a Bakongo, the origins. This is why they didn't put that in there, because the Gentiles who worship false gods cannot all of a sudden become a Muntu unless they come through one, because they go back to their origins, which is the worship of pagan gods. That's why they don't see them. Their name is everywhere, and they don't even hear it. They go eat at Taco Bell. Bel was the demon was a god of the Babylonians. They go play football. Baal is the god of Mesopotamia and Canaan. They go catch some rays. That's the sun god. Okay, they don't see that. They even talk about Nitro. They watch movies Zeus and everything. They don't even see it. Okay. Kepler said, I'm not going to say, it wasn't Peter, that's Ptah. As you have told us regarding everything, teach us about the other one. What? Now pay attention to this. This is why it's not in there. What is the sin of the world? Do you think they really want you? Your pastor can't stand up there and preach with this scripture. You'll expose it. Watch. The Savior said, no sin exists outside of you. The nature doesn't sin against the Most High. You have to make the nature sin against the Most High. That's why our influence creates the negativity. It is you who makes sin. When you do those things such as adultery, this is called sin. This is the whole point of making the 12 tribes believe in the Anunnaki gods and the Watchers, unawares, because you're committing adultery. There are those who have made an oath with these gods that they know this. And they want you to create this whole problem with cheating, even on your own, yourself. This is called sin. Because of this, the holiness has come into your midst, into the nature of everything. Where is Yesaya? Boom. Kuswa Kongo spirit is with Tata nZambi spirit, is with the Mwandavelala. That's why Mayamona calls it the Mwandavelala, because the spirit is in the nature. When you become returned to Yesaya, you become attached to him. That's why he takes it personal when other people are out here causing you to sin. Or you sin. Because the issue is, he was there from the beginning. He is Yalankuvu, the tree of life. That's why he's going to let people believe whatever they want. Like the Most High said, I will put a strong delusion. You believe whatever you want, that becomes your reality. You think this person is talking about you? Okay, you're going to think that. And it's not true. So then you're going to get hit with it later. You think these people are trying to take stuff from you and they're not? Okay? I have people that have done this to me. I said, I don't worry about it. Let them have what they want. Because eventually the Most High will repay it. Because he knows what the people are trying to do. They don't like it, what my job is. So they're going to make people think what they think. I'm talking against their brotherhood and their sisterhood. So we're going to make him pay. And they're going to use whatever means to do that. And that's where you find them everywhere. They do not want the Levites to be purified. They do not want the pure gospels to come out. So they're going to keep pushing the agenda. Now watch how you get sick. Why do you think they don't want people to read this Bible? This is going to prove that your pastor is a fake. It says, he will restore all back to their origin. Who? The one who never sinned against Tata nZambi has to be the one in the midst of it. When you reject Isaiah, you reject the Most High. If you didn't recognize who Isaiah was, you rejected the Most High. Isaiah did something. People are going to be, oh boy. That's why our brother in the awakening, he said everybody's going to be humble. He wasn't joking because he understood this. We had a conversation about some things. People are going to be in shock. Because of this, you get sick and you die. For you are loving what will deceive you. Whoever understands, let him understand. Bam. How do you get sick? How do you die? You love things that deceive you. You can't, man. That exposes every. The Pope even say he got a fever. I know the whole truth. That, first of all, that ain't him. That dude, there's a reporter, she got in trouble. He already died. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that. There's a person that shared it with me. She put it on you. They put it on YouTube. They had to retract. They redacted her report. Okay? Because clones get sick. I'll leave it like that. What did he say? If you don't go back to the origin, this is why I told people, you got to go back to the garden with Adama and Awa and what they were doing to praise the Most High. You got to go back to Hanukkah and all that. But there's things out here that people being taught that they did not do, and they're doing it. There are people bringing people stuff that they're teaching you, and it's still Canaanite, and it's still Babylonian, because they're part of the NWO agenda. He will restore all back to their origin. If you're not with Isaiah, he cannot restore you back to your origin. You're going to stay sick. Tata nZambi cannot restore you back to your origin if you are not connected to Isaiah. You will stay sick. That's why the world is being deceived by the medical industry. They are making you sick because you are disconnected from the real Messiah. And then they're going to give you the medicine that they have created to fix you. When the Messiah himself can give you the remedies. Okay, we learned this. Okay? There's another scripture that talks about how he called people his students. In order to learn from the real creator and the teacher, Yesu Malongi, you must be accepted as his student. Let's look at the word student. Sunday school people are getting deceived. They're learning Longoki. You're going to Sunday school learning about Sol Invictus. You're not learning about Yesiah, Apollo. How do you know that? You got children having illnesses that go to church. What did he just say? We'll go to the James here in a minute. Oh, that one's going to blow you away. Read these, I'm telling you. They didn't put this in the Bible for a reason. Because you cannot teach Christianity with these. No. He said he will restore all back to their origin. You want to know, they put that in the movie, The Wizard of Oz, when they said, oh, the cowardly lion, he's going to puff up and take out the wizard. Isaiah's going to take out the wizard. That's how, when they showed you, when she took out the witch, the people started to change. Ooh, we're going back to who we were. You cannot go back to being with King Kongo without Isaiah. You must be connected to him. You must be connected to the Pema Kalunga. You must be connected to in spirit and in truth. You don't think Makai nZambi answers to Isaiah? Oh, trust me. I know he does, because people have tried to use him for other reasons. I know this. Because of this, they get sick and you die. For you are loving what will deceive you. You got people going to the church saying, I love my pastor. I love my church. I love this. What are they doing? They're getting sick and they're dying. They go to the pastor, oh, my child got a fever. Oh, let's pray for your child. Lord Jesus. Hello. If you had the Messiah to begin with, you don't get sick. Boom. That's why they didn't put this in the Bible. This is why you don't know the scriptures. If you follow any other Messiah besides him, you're going to get sick and die. This has happened to some people already. Yes, Tata nZambi has more than one son. He has children. But who is the head of his children? Yesaya, Infumu Yisu, Kongo. He is the head of all the children. And we become like him. That's why I try to tell myself, Brother Bailey, wake up. But then he also telling me, no, watch. Look who just did it. They waved the wand. I got him. That's why Malachi 3, Yesaya is involved with that. He comes with Tata nZambi. Tata nZambi is coming and he coming with him. When the Father says go, he going too. Okay? Matter gives rise to passion, which has no semblance of anything coming from outside of its nature. That's what Romans 1:18 through 32 is talking about. The Most High takes you away from your nature when you put the creation above the Creator. You cannot be what you're not meant to be, other than what you're supposed to be. That's why the Most High has nothing to do with the Gentiles unless they come through the moon tube. Because they are out of their nature. They have nothing. They are completely opposite with their gods. That's why they're ignorant as bliss. They're running around like they little, the devil just lets them be. Okay, cool. As long as you stay praying to me, we're good. Or believing what I tell you, we're good. As long as you in my masquerade, we got no problem. The minute you come out of the devil's masquerade, now we got a problem. Oh, we got a problem. That's the matrix right there. Then a disturbance arises throughout the body. People, we were never supposed to separate from King Kongo. That's why you're dealing with all of the curses. This is the origin when I'm talking, when we talk about the origins of the curses. That's what happened in the garden with Lilith and the dragon. They made Tata Adama and Mama Eva out of their nature. So they had a disturbance throughout the body and they lost the connection. That's why the answer to becoming like the Most High starts within, not without. That's why he said, why do you clean the outside and not the inside of the cup? You have to restore your inner body, and the world you live in is not designed to do that. No, it is not. Their way cannot restore the inner body. That's why you can have no peace, because it's out of their nature. Because of this, I tell you, become satisfied from within. Bam, that exposes the rich people 1000%. That exposes your pastor, that exposes your teacher, that exposes everybody. Never be satisfied, always want more. You know what that does to your body? It puts you out of your balance. This is why you go and do all these things that they have you doing in sports. You do all this stuff that they have you doing, and people get crippled. People get sick. People get died. They have problems. You have diseases. This is why they created all the amusement parks and all the distractions and going on vacation and all this other stuff. Make it look good. So they don't know they're not going to feel good. They putting you with that philosophy, with the frog in the skillet. Turn the heat up slowly until you burn. If you turn it up fast, they're going to jump out. There's your 3 frogs, people. They making all these people turn up slowly. And then they know you're going to the opposite. If you are unsatisfied, you will seek satisfaction from the forms and images of matter. That's why you go praying to idols that can't help you. That's why you go the therapist and everything that's going on. This is why they created a world where your mind has to be controlled. Because the mind can fix everything from within. Because they're going to keep Esau on the seat. Anyone who has ears to hear should listen. Wikichila. Let me repeat it again. Because of this, I tell you, become satisfied from within. If you are unsatisfied, you will seek satisfaction from the forms. This is why they created everything to be, look at me, look at me, look. That's why they don't tell you in the Bible that the child who had to fast was the demon of lust. Because they need you to have the demons of lust so you stay unsatisfied. And they engineered the world just like that. The food, everything. Never be satisfied. Always want more. Be the best. That was what they had to do when the Mosai cut them off. They had to fight for everything and compete. Now they're doing it to us in revenge, but they're making it look good. Get out here and compete with these people, hit that ball, running after stuff that the Most High got nothing to do with. Oh, God blessed me with, no, he did not. You lying to people. You working for the imposter, and you know it's Sol Invictus. When the anointed Messiah said these things, he greeted everyone saying, peace be within you. That's why you say Salama or Yenge. Peace be with you, receive my peace. Assalamu alaikum. This is where Islam gets it from, but they're not talking to him. And they're not saying it right. Because in order to have peace, real peace, and you can lose it, you stop being like Maliki, you will lose your peace. Peace be with you. This is why he kept saying Hakuna Matata. Which they're mocking. It means no worries for the rest of your days. Which that's what he means. Take not no thought for tomorrow, but tomorrow will take care of yourself. The devil is a liar. He put Hakuna Matata is what the real Messiah said. That the Swahili people got mad and said, you're mocking us. No, they're mocking Isaiah. because that's the Lion King. Receive my peace. So that right there is how the Messiah becomes with you. You have to receive Kongo's peace. Because if you don't, then imposters can come and tell you anything and you believe it. This is why I learned from my mother who the Messiah was on. If it's not true, let it go. Let go. They always say, let go and let God. Okay, that's the dog God. That's Sol Invictus. He can't bring you no peace. That's why your houses stay in turmoil. And you're dealing with all kinds of problems with your kids because you're raising up your child the way of Sol Invictus way, not the Most High. That's why you got people out here in the streets going crazy now. Because you were raising your children like Sol Invictus. You were raising your children Esau's way and not the Most High's way. Like, that's why you were raising kids and not lambs. You were supposed to be raising lambs, not kids. When you do it the Most High way, you're raising lambs, not kids. Kids belong to goats. Lambs belong to sheep. Tata nZambi's way is the lamb's way. Oh, who was the lamb? That's why they got you in the habit of calling your children kids, which we know in Kongo, combo, goat. That's why you get a combo from McDonald's, because you're raising kids. And that food is making your kids into goats. They know. Be careful. This is the same thing in the marriage. Look, watch what he said. Do not let anyone mislead you by saying, look over here or look over there, for the servant of humanity exists within you. Follow after him. Those who seek him will find him. Where you got all these Christians saying, look up in the sky, we're waiting on Jesus. Oh, the devil tricked you. He tricked you. Go then and preach the gospel of the Itempele, nZambi. You cannot teach the world Apollo on the cross and expect the world to be at peace. No way. That's why these Christians don't understand. Jerusalem exists, Israel exists. Why aren't you there with the Messiah already? Why are you doing it? Even the way they set up your churches is wrong. You don't even know. That's why Tata nZambi gave us specific dimensions for a reason. They know that. Oh, we're going to do the engineer. They're going to make our church look like this. The Most High is not flowing through that. You think your pastor and the engineer did it right? No, they did not. Don't set up. Now watch this part. Watch this. Let me see if I can tell. Watch. Look. What this means. Look. Kutala or Tala. Look. Don't set up any rules. Oh, watch this. Outside of what I instructed you. That's massive. Nor render any law like the lawgiver, or else you will be bound by it. The Christian church made up their own laws that you don't even know he did not set. So guess what happened to you? You became bound by it. That is why religion means to bind again. If you listen to anybody who makes laws that were not set up by the Messiah, because he did not change the nZambi's law. He fulfilled it. Okay? So if you start giving instructions or rules outside of what you're supposed to, you will now be bound to that. That's why you have to be careful about what nZambi is telling the truth and what nZambi is telling a lie. What in Gunza. Because some Ngunzas are making their own law. Priests is what that means. The Catholic Church, they're making up rules. The Christian Church, they're making, you see all the people, the mission statements that they make out there? They're making up their own laws. It has nothing to do with Isaiah. It's all about Helios Christos, Osiris. They know that. Now watch this. After saying these things, he left. But they grieved and they were wept. They said, how will we go up to the pagans and preach the gospel of the sanctuary of the servant of humanity? Watch the answer. If they didn't spare him, how will they spare us? Then Malia rose and greeted everyone, saying, she said, don't weep and don't grieve, nor be brokenhearted, for mercy will be with all of you, and it will protect you. Rather, let us praise his greatness, for he prepared us and he gave us humanity. We are Muntu. When Malia said these things, she turned their hearts toward their holiness and then began debating about the teachings of the Savior. Kepler said to Malia, sister, we know the Savior loved you more than any other women. Why? You're going to find out the truth behind that. Tell us the teachings of the Savior wherever you remember those things we have not heard. Malia said, I will tell you that which has been hidden. She began telling them these teachings. She said, I saw the master in a vision. I said, Master, I saw you today in a vision. He said, be luck are you, for don't hesitate seeing me, for the mind goes to where its treasure lies. Bam. The mind goes to where its treasure lies. Woke up this morning with my mind. Now they have a song like this. Stayed on. But it said Jesus, right? That's Apollo. Jesus Christos is Nimrod. It's supposed to be, woke up this morning with my mind. Stayed on Kongo. On Isaiah, Yesu. Woke up this morning with my mind. Stayed on Yesu, Christu, Kongo. You have it wrong. You're talking about Apollo. This is what they gave you when we brought into slavery. The church don't know that. And calling him the Jewish Messiah. When that person was a Tuluba, your mind is focused on the wrong guy. Simon the sorcerer, the imposter, Wizard of Oz, instead of Isaiah. And he is Esau. And he will not, he does not want to release the throne back to King Kongo. Tata, Isaiah. He doesn't want to do it. So he's going to put everybody out there to stop you from doing the same. Me, my job is to help bring Kuso Kongo, okay, Isaiah. He's going to be on the throne. He is who Kimbangu was talking about. When he said, I will be with him. I will be with this king. Yeah, because he taught Kimbangu. Kuswa Kongo was Yusu Malone. That was Kimbangu's teacher. Through Tata nZambi. Same thing with Mayamona. That's why they say, oh, Jesus Christ in the world. Ifumu Yesu Christu in the world. Kuswa Kongo. He's already here. His presence, this is why the devil went through all of this trouble in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and even till now, to make every form of distraction he could. Because Yesiah been here. Now he will come and expose it. Boom! Pounce. His coming back is a pounce. I got you. Oh, they're gonna do their blue beam mess and their deceiver, and they keep calling it a false flag or whatever. Watch. Okay. I'm done real quick. Let me just show you something in the book of James that's gonna blow you away. Woe to these. Okay, watch it. Let me go back. This is called the Epistle of Yaoundé, James. Peace be with you from peace. Solomon, Yenge. Love from love, grace from grace, faith from faith. There's a thing that talks about knowledge. I think this is the one. Because it's not about faith, it's about knowledge, people. Because you asked me to send you a confidential document describing what was revealed to me and kept up by the master, I could not decline you nor speak directly, but I have written in Kikongo, not no Hebrew, and sending you, and you are alone, or Lingala probably. Yet since you are a preacher, because Lingala is Hebrew, yet since you are a preacher of salvation of the prophets, strive diligently to be careful not to pass on this text to not pass on this text to the multitudes. That which the Mvuluzi wished not to tell us all, his 12 disciples, Abafundi. But Bilaka is the one who's saved by his faith in this discussion. 10 months ago, I sent you another confidential scroll. Remember, the Vatican always had this. We didn't pay attention. We passed it on to which the Mvuli have revealed to me. You should regard this one to reveal to me. Yaoundé, James. His name was Yaoundé. One time, the 12 disciples sitting together, recalling that the Mluzi Savior said to each one of them, whether confidently or openly, they were according to this writing that is written in my scroll, after he had left us, and will gaze upon him. After 550 days following his rising from the dead body, he asked him, have you left and separated yourself from us? Yesiah said, no, but I shall be going to the place from whence I came. If you want to come with me, then come. This is what they call him, the cowardly lion, by the way. Everyone said, if you invite us, we will come. He said, truly I tell you, no one enters the sanctuary of the spiritual realm by my invitation, but rather because you are satisfied from within. Remember I just talked about that in the Gospel of Mary? Give me Yaoundé and Kepa so that I might give them satisfaction. This is what it means by living water, by the way. After calling these two, he took them aside and instructed them, the Savior, you have received mercy. Of course, they probably got it, but they ain't gonna tell you. The Manda will fill it out. And I know, okay, the Manda is saying, you have received mercy through what he did. Okay? Do you not want to be satisfied, and is your heart drunk? Do you want to be sober? Therefore, be humbled. Now, when you are awake or asleep, remember that you have seen and have spoken to the servant of humanity, and you have heard from him. Sadi, Sadi, of the Muntu. Woe to those who have seen the servant of humanity. Belaka are those who have not seen the man, who have not associated with him, nor spoke with him, nor have heard of him. Yours is life. Understood that he healed you when you were sick, that you might regain your health. Bam. That exposes the church. Right there. Woe to those. Why? Why would he say woe to those who have seen the Benamuntu? Because now you're going to be exposed if you're not doing it right. Blessed are those who have not seen and who have not associated with him, nor spoken with him, nor have heard from him. Yours is life. Understood that he healed you when you were sick. You might regain your health. He has to be in here. Woe to those who have recovered from their sickness, because they will again relapse into sickness. Bilaka are those who haven't been sick or have known help before they were sick. Yours is the sanctuary of Tata nZambi. Thus I tell you, be satisfied and leave no place within you empty, because he who comes can trick you. That's why they gave us other things. If you are distracted by the world, boom, you are tricked. If you start getting into carnality, myself included, boom, you can be tricked. You must be satisfied with what Tata nZambi gives you. You must be satisfied with what the Most High teaches you. You must be satisfied with what your mission is. Because what happens when you become unsatisfied? You can be tricked. That's why I know my mission was to show the world how they were deceived by the devil. I have shown you that. Oh, did he keep trying to trap me and trip me up in the process? Oh, yeah. But I got back up and I kept moving forward. That's why I'm doing this again for you today. He don't want nobody to know this. To be connected to Tata nZambi, the Most High and Fumu, in your spirituality starts with your inner peace of satisfaction with what Isaiah gave you to do and what the Most High told you to instruct him, because what Isaiah tells you to do, the Most High told him to tell you to do it. That's why there's people out here that they are telling you they come from the Most High and he did not send them. Because in order to be sent by him, Isaiah must also be present. There's a lot of people calling themselves rulers. And Tata nZambi don't see them. King Kongo does not see them. Because Isaiah must be in the midst. Because he fulfilled the law. The Gentiles knew it, but they got tricked by an imposter. Why? What did they say in Matthew 24? He was going to use miracles and divinations. Go back to the Acts of Peter and Paul. He did that. They're tricked now. They already bewitched, like Paul said. They don't know it. All right. I'm going to end there. I went a little longer than I wanted to. But see, the problem is the contract has expired. That nZambi is coming. Esau cannot stay on the throne, and he's going to get kicked off by force because he's acting like he's the Most High, and he's not. And I told you, don't get caught up with this black-white stuff. The NWO's agenda was to put Esau on the throne and leave him there. He was a Muntu. He was a Bakongo. He was a nZambi. So he's tricking you that he replaced Yakubi. And he's got many of his minions out here tricking you so that he don't get kicked off the throne. Oh, but Yesaiah's coming. Flatulendo's going to be there. All right. Bayete Nkosi, Sambolola, Zola Kwingi, Inawezi Yabe Kongo Kutwala. Ingeta, hallelujah, Bayete.